So today I wanted to talk about the importance of patience and self-regulation, both when it comes to emotional self-regulation and also regulation of behavior. And again, I'll be talking purely based on personal experiences and what they have taught me. And yeah, hopefully by sharing them, the experiences themselves and also the lessons that I've learned through them will be helpful and relatable to someone out there, or at the very least, they'll be interesting to listen to and hear about. So yeah, basically, the main point that I will be making throughout this video is that actually, the more desperately we want something, the least likely we are to actually get it. Right, and for me, that has been the most true and relevant when it comes to competitive achievements, right? Because like whenever I don't know, like I'm extremely obsessed and hyper focused on getting to a certain milestone, to the point where I'm neglecting and sacrificing everything else, right? So it's like sleep doesn't matter, food doesn't matter, my responsibilities as a student don't matter, right? And the only thing that matters is I don't know, like playing this competitive game or whatever, and just trying to get a certain rank or win a certain tournament or whatever, right? And the more desperately and the more badly you want to achieve this rank or win this tournament or whatever it is that you want to do, right? The more desperately you want it, the harder it becomes to actually get it. And there are multiple reasons for that. I mean, the first one is pretty obvious, right? It's like if you're really desperate and you really, really want it, you are going to be willing to practice like 20 hours per day and like barely sleep, right? And of course, lack of sleep impairs your performance in whatever you are that you're doing. Also, same applies to lack of good nutrition, right? Not eating, like being dehydrated, stuff like that, right? But also on top of that, the closer you get to achieving this goal, right, the more emotionally unstable you become. At least that's true for me, and I'm sure it's applicable to a lot of other people out there, right? It's like you are one or two wins away from getting the desired milestone or outcome, right, that you want. And this means that, uh, losses at this stage hurt even more, right? Because you were so close, and, you know, like, you can almost like you start daydreaming about getting the achievement. Every loss hurts 10 times more, and this hurts a lot on an emotional level, but for some people it can go a step further, and this emotional pain can later be transformed into a physical pain, right? If the person ends up harming themselves physically in some way or punishing themselves physically, right? But even if they don't, right, it's just the emotional pain itself is very damaging. This lack of like emotional regulation, both due to being so close and desperately wanting the achievement, but also like you know, again, this is linked also to sleep deprivation, right? Because when you sleep deprived, it's automatically it becomes 10 times harder to regulate your emotions, right? So this further makes it harder, right? So you just start spiraling, and all those negative emotions are 10 times stronger, and then yeah, you lack the sleep that your brain needs in order to deal with it, right? So it keeps spiraling, and it creates a snowballing effect where uh, yeah, you feel more and more negative and more emotional pain, and potentially even physical pain, right? It depends on the person and how they cope, but either way, you feel a lot of pain, right? And yeah, that's like the example that's most relatable to me, right? In a competitive context, but those principles can be applied to practically everything else. For example, another common domain where this can be applied is social interactions, right? Whether it's friendship or romantic context, right? Let's say friendship, for example. Like if you desperately want to have a friend, right? The more desperate you are to get a friend, the least likely you are to make a friend. And here it is slightly different mechanism, I would say. Here it's more so the fact that, you know, if you really desperately want to have a friend, you're going to be willing to do whatever it takes to make someone to be your friend, right? So you would make sacrifices, right? You would do them favors all the time, give them compliments, give them maybe gifts, stuff like that, right? And the issue with that is that it is not compatible with what the definition of friendship is, right? And what how healthy friendship is supposed to function, right? Because healthy friendship is supposed to be a mutual thing, right? It doesn't have to be like a strict 50-50, of course, in terms of, you know, I give 50% and I get 50% out of it, right? Of course, two people in a friendship can contribute to each other in different ways, but it still has to have like, uh, you know, positive effect on both, and you know, it has to be a positive, uh, positively charged interaction on both sides, and both sides need to show care and affection and support, right, for it to be a healthy friendship. But if you desperately want someone to be your friend, you're going to overlook that, right? So like, even if the other person is not treating you nicely at all, uh, you know, you would still be willing to, you know, overperform and give them like so many gifts and so many compliments and do so many sacrifices for them, right? Even if they don't, not only if they don't return the favor, but even if they don't even acknowledge it and appreciate it, like express their appreciation for it, right? So, for example, you know, like maybe the other person will keep you around just because you're useful for them, right? They're getting like practical benefit out of it. For example, like, you know, they might be thinking like, oh, this person is willing to, uh, you know, do my homework for me. They're willing to teach me like the course material. They're willing to pay for dinner, right? Treat me to dinner. They're willing to, you know, give me like nice gifts just to express their friendship and their appreciation of me, right? So sure, like I think they're boring. Maybe I don't like them at all, but you know, I'll just keep them around just because they're being useful to me in practical ways, right? And on the other side, right, if you are stuck in that desperate mindset of like I really badly want a friend, you know, you're going to convince yourself that you are having a friendship, right? Because you know you want the bare minimum, like you want the company of the other person, and you're like they're hanging out with me, therefore they are my friend, right? But that's not always the case. So you know, you might trick yourself that you are getting friends that way, but in reality you are not, right? What you're getting is fake friendship. It's not real. It's just toxic social interaction, right? So that's why being desperate actually makes it almost impossible to get a proper friendship. Uh, yeah, so you know this can be directly linked to the component of, you know, regulation of like your emotions and your behavior, right? Like you should have more self-respect, and you know you should actively reflect and think critically of your interactions and how healthy they are, right? But this can also be tied to the patience component as well, right? Because real friendships take time, right? It's very rare that you're going to meet someone and, you know, like you're gonna talk for 5 minutes and instantly you're best friends or like even close friends, right? It takes time. So, you know, like if you are impatient and you're rushing, you're going to naturally ruin the quality of the friendship, right? Because like it is pretty obvious and apparent most of the time to the other person, right? When you just want the friendship label and you're not really fully immersed in what they're saying, right? So, for example, maybe you know the other person is I don't know. There's some person is sharing personal stuff, right? And maybe he wants feedback or second opinion, right? But if you're constantly like someone who gives them like compliments or reassurance or like only positive things, right? Like for example, like oh, you know, it's not your fault, or like you're doing great. I'm sure you'll be fine, whatever. Like it can feel nice at first, right? But if the other person is sharp and self-aware, right, at some point they will realize that the reason you're being so overly positive and encouraging is probably just because you're desperate for them to like you, right, and for you to consider each other friends. But actually, from personal experience, the best friends that I have are the ones who are honest with me, right? And even when the truth hurts, they're willing to tell me, to give me a reality check, basically, right? And that's the thing I value the most, and for me uh, that's the most meaningful type of friendship, and the most true type of friendship, right? It's when you share something and the other person is not sugarcoating the truth because they genuinely care about you and they want the best for you, right? And that's why they're willing to sacrifice your short-term, temporary, like current happiness in order to give you like optimal results for the future, right? Instead of feeding into an echo chamber and feeding your delusions just to make you feel good about yourself in the present moment, right? Um, yeah, so those are, I guess, a few short examples and thoughts I have on this topic. Uh, and yeah, that's about it in terms of what I wanted to share for this topic. However, there's one last thing I want to mention in this video, which is it has more to do with like why I'm recording those videos in the first place, and what I'm trying to achieve through my YouTube channel, right? So, of course, based on the name of the channel and also the things that I'm talking about, it's obviously mostly negative things, but despite that, actually, believe it or not, I actually want to create positive content, right? So like, even though I'm talking about negative things, I want to discuss them in a way which is hopefully educational and can help people relate, know that they are not alone in their struggle, and also, I want to, I guess, leave people with the idea that, like most problems are solvable, or even if they're not solvable, you can improve them, right? And they can become less impairing and less painful, right? So, I'm talking about bad things and negative things, but the reason I'm talking about them is because I know that most of them can be improved, right? And I actually want people to feel happier after watching my videos. I don't want them to feel even more sad than they were before watching. Uh, so, I would like to start this habit where at the end of my videos, I leave people with a positive message. So for this video, I just want to say that, uh, you know, things will probably get better, as generic as this sounds. And also, like, one practical thing, because of course you are just a random stranger watching my video, right? I don't know anything about you, so it is hard to give targeted, specific compliments to you specifically, whoever you are watching, right? Because I don't know you, but one thing that I do know is that, like, if you watch the entire video, well, it's a 13-minute video, right? So the fact that you had the attention span to watch it already is pretty impressive and admirable, right? With the current status of things and the current state of social media, and like people having like 5-second attention spans and watching only short-term content, right? So give yourself credit for being able to maintain your attention for such a long period of time. And also, I can express my gratitude for giving me a chance and giving me 13 or 14 minutes of your time to listen to my thoughts, right? Because I'm just a random university student, right? I don't claim to be wise or very knowledgeable or very mature, right? So at the end of the day, I'm just a random person sharing their subjective experience and thoughts. And for you to be willing to listen to my thoughts is very, very kind, and I really appreciate you taking the time to listen to me. I don't take this for granted, so thank you for watching. And yeah, I will continue making those videos because, like, even if no one ends up watching them, for me it's free therapy, right? And actually, even before YouTube, I had this habit of just recording myself talk as a way to like self-reflect, and it improves my quality of life and my happiness, regardless of if someone is watching. But if you are someone watching this video and you find it helpful or enjoyable, this makes me even more happy. So thank you for watching, and yeah, hopefully I will continue making videos that someone out there will find helpful or entertaining. So yeah, take care.